I remember in my college audition, we was doing a jazz routine, as you do at Erdang, and it was like full out, leg, back, leap, boom. And then it got to a freestyle, and everyone still did leg, back, leap, turn, split. And I remember I went to the front of the room and I like glide like in a leotard and tights. It gives me the ick now, I think about it. And it was very like, but I went to the front of the room and I like was doing this like usher glide and like a bit of a MJ moonwalk situation at the front, and I was doing my lock in. As long as it makes sense, then yeah, I think that's how you put your style into it and kind of like stand out.
Welcome to Studio Sessions, a video series for creative performers. Each week we go behind the scenes on the shoots and sit down with guests to discuss their careers, the creative industry, and share the lessons they've learned along the way. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How's your day been today?
It's been good. It was an early one, but I was excited to come in, very happy. And yeah, now we've done the shoot and everything. It's been so cool. I'm up now. I've had a coffee.
Yeah.
I'm up.
So if anyone who doesn't know who you are, do you want to introduce yourself?
So I'm Claudia Carlier. My nickname's Floss. A lot of people don't know if my last name's Floss or it's my middle name, but my nickname is Floss. I'm 21. I'm from South East London. Like, I grew up in Essex.
Yeah.
I've always been a London girl. My mum had a dance school growing up, so I've always been around dance, and naturally I just kind of got involved in it all. And
so what kind of age did you start kind of performing? Or like working with your mum?
So my mum was really great. She had just a street school, and that's where she just did like, she didn't really do any other styles there.
Yeah.
She used to like teach disco and Latin ballroom and stuff, but ended up just loving the street stuff and like competing with kids in the street. And I think I must have been about 3. 2, I was around it all the time, but maybe 2 she put me in like a baby ballet and would like have me run around in a circle, as you do. But then she started taking me elsewhere to do like all my ballet, because I think she kind of knew that I really liked it.
Yeah.
She was like, okay. And she's always been good like that. She's always put me in other stuff. Like, she knows that she only does one thing, so she's not afraid. Like, she wouldn't just like close me in.
Yeah.
She'd always take me to do I always used to do the ballet, jazz, modern exams, and to all different places. So I had different teachers, and it wasn't just her. Even though she was one of my best teachers, I think, because obviously your mum knows best.
Yeah.
She knows me, and at times I'd be like, God, she's really picking on me today about having my arms strong and doing my faces and like. But really and truly, if I didn't have someone being brutally honest with me, then
so having a good level of discipline from like an early age, I think, is a really important thing.
100%. And she's taught me so much, and even still now, like, she'll always give me her honest opinion. I really, really value it.
Yeah, it's good to have someone like that who just gives you, like, the phrase is like candor, like kind of honest feedback that's like useful.
Yeah.
Kind of constructive feedback, I suppose.
Absolutely.
What do you think makes a good teacher?
I think it's that balance. I love a strict teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's definitely a difference with a teacher when they're, being mean. You can get a few mean teachers, and it's like, and it can knock you back a bit. And then I think there's a difference between getting critiqued and then seeing that they're saying that to you for a reason. They just want you to be better.
Yeah.
I love a teacher. Even now, if I go to class and someone gives me feedback, I'm like, thank you, because I think that you're always striving to be better. But like, I used to have some really strict teachers that would come up to you and like get in your face. I'd be like, give it to me, like, because I don't know, I just loved that. And I love the feeling of being pushed. Still do. Still really do. I love kind of going into a room, and if I'm really struggling, I'm like it gives me a bit of fire in my belly.
Yeah. And what do you think it is that gives you that drive to just be the best that you possibly can be?
I don't know. I just love it, genuinely.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's kept me going, and that's why I train the way I train. That's why I've loved the teachers that have pushed me the way that they have, because of my love for it. I just naturally do. And there's a lot of classes that I still go to, and I'm like, don't have a clue, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But
and I think that's good to say as well, because I think a lot of people would just maybe like see you on Instagram or see you in class and just assume that you know what's going on and you know how to do everything, and you come out of that being like, smashed it.
And if it does look like that, it's maybe like, I think a lot of people think that when they see me in John and Marco's hip hop class. I've been training with them since I was probably like 12, 13. That's been a long time. I'm 21 now.
Yeah.
I still go into that class and I'm like, what? But no, I'm still finding my way. And there's still so many, like, once you find your feet in a class and you know their style and you know what you're expecting when you go to a certain someone's class, now you get that and you get their movement and their style of teaching. Now just try and find something.
Yeah.
It's a little something that you can, you know, because there's always more to find out. There's always more to learn.
And kind of with that as well, like kind of adding a little something into it, how do you kind of develop your own style, and how do you kind of take something that is just something that someone's taught you and then make it your own?
That's a very good question. I think with me, I was very blessed, like I said, like I kind of had been exposed to so many styles as a kid. And what's niche about me in the commercial industry is that I've had a lot of hip hop foundations, which I try and use as much as I can. Like I remember in my college audition, we was doing a jazz routine, as you do at Erdang, and it was like full out, leg, back, leap, boom, and then it got to a freestyle, and everyone still did leg, back, leap, turn, split. And I remember I went to the front of the room and I like glide like in a leotard and tights. It gives me the ick now thinking about it. And it was very like but I went to the front of the room and I like was doing this like usher glide and like a bit of a MJ moonwalk situation at the front, and I was doing my lock in. So I think to answer your question pretty much is like try and take as many classes in as many styles as you can, and then with that you're a sponge. You know, I've been on jobs where it's a period drama and I've had to like tap into the year or two I did Latin and ballroom when I was a kid.
You can't drop into hip hop in there.
No, you really cannot. You really cannot. So I think it's that, and just being a sponge and then using all of that information and all the foundations that you've just taken and, you know, applying it where fits and where they're asking of you.
Speaking about fits, let's go on to your first fit from today.
Yeah.
What was that and what made you bring that?
That was, so I had like a area bra. It's from Area. It's from a place called Annie's Ibiza. And then I thought balance, camo. I wanted to go for more of like, my style's more like streety anyway, baggy. So I wanted to show my body, but also have a little bit of
you kind of thrown into
a little bit
it,
of
so,
me,
yeah.
which is that is very me. Oh, I love that.
I feel like that's very Tate.
I love that. Oh, I'm all hats.
Cool. Next one.
Thank you. I got so excited now.
Since you've graduated, you've done lots of different work in lots of different places. What kind of things have you done, and what's like really stood out to you?
I've been really lucky actually. Like a lot of my jobs have been very, like really different. I started out, I got to do Bridgerton, which was choreographed by Jack Murphy, and that was a learning thing. I got to share the space of a load of people I hadn't met before.
Yeah.
They were all older than me. Like I was the youngest one there. They had swing background. One of them was Royal Ballet, Lindy Hop, a lot of ballroom background. I think there was like one other person that had a commercial that was from the commercial scene. So I got to do that. I then was in a show in the West End at the Old Vic called Sylvia, and I got to work with Zoo Nation and Kate Prince, which was always a big dream of mine. And I was a swing on that show, so that was another thing. I was like, whoa.
Learning
Lots, but it pushed me a lot, and I was lucky that I did that quite early on, because now I can use that tool. And that kind of like, I felt like after that job, I was like, if I can do that, I can do anything. And then I've done things like BGT, working commercially live, and then I last year toured Europe. I say Europe, but we kind of ended up dotting all over the world a little bit, which was really cool. But I got to tour with J Balvin, and that was my first tour for an artist. And then this year I've been on tour with Flo. So it's been great. It's been very, very, very different.
Yeah.
And it's been so lovely to work with so many different kinds of people and all ages and styles and abilities. And it's been great.
So like coming out of college, like you're clearly like the youngest people in those rooms. How does it feel going into an environment where you are the youngest, where you're the least experienced, and how do you kind of feel and how do you cope with that?
I think it is a thing, because you think, you know, you get into these rooms finally and you see all these people that you look up to. I think the worst thing you could probably do is doubt why you're there, and you're like, well, I'm never going to get it, because and I say that I've struggled with it. I've been there. You know, like, I remember with Balvin, I didn't get to audition. I was working, I was busy, and I was like, can I tape for it? Can I send in something? Can I be subbed? And they were like, no, like, you have to be there, you have to be in the room. And I forgot about it, because I was like, that's fine, that's just the way it is. Didn't think it was a thing. I knew people that went to the audition and got to the final and were waiting to hear, and I was like, cool. Literally let it go over my head, didn't think about it for like a month, and then I get another text from my agent on a random, like, middle of the week, and it was like, you know, are you still available for these dates? And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely I am. And then that night, that was it, I got the call and I got it. And I remember walking into the room on the first day, which was like the next Monday, and I was with these, like, me coming from like a street style hip hop, kind of fresh in the industry, like, never toured before, and I walked into the room, and there was like a lot of these dancers that I've looked up to, like Siobhan and Alex, and the style was a lot older than what I'm used to, and I kind of had that imposter syndrome, like, why am I here? Like, I have an audition, what have I done to deserve to be here? But you just have to believe that, like, you have to own it, you do, and like, it's nerve-wracking, of course it's nerve-wracking, and all these situations are going to be nerve-wracking when they first happen, and I still get nervous now, but as long as you don't doubt yourself, and you think, you know, I've got a lot to bring, I'm different, you know, no one is the same as you, and everyone has got a space in this industry that is, like, no one is the same. You might have the same look as someone, but great opposites. Yeah, like, you've got something special, and you've just got to believe in that, and like, just be you, be genuine, be authentic. Don't try and be something that you're not, because I think the people who are holding these things, they can see that.
100%.
Yeah.
Cool. So moving on to the second look from today.
Yes.
What was that, and what made you bring that?
So I bought like a Nike American football jersey that I just randomly had in my wardrobe. And then just a little pair of shorts so I could have my legs out, because I don't think I've got really many photos with like my legs and stuff, and I thought it'd be like nice to show, but I kind of went for more of like a Tate McRae-esque vibe, because I'd love to dance for her, and I think her style's really nice, because it's mature but cool, because it's a bit baggy. It's very me, really.
Yeah, it's very
I love that so
And like, talking about kind of like last year and how many like tours and stuff you've done, what does a tour look like from the start, in terms of you arrive on the first day to kind of performing on that first stage?
I think, my experience with the first one I did last year was the first day. I mean, we had a very tight turnaround, so we would learn like 4 or 5 numbers a day. It was
And how many was there in total?
There was like 20-ish numbers, I think we learned. Like, I think we had 5 days of rehearsals learning the choreo, and then we went to production straight away. Like, it was, I don't think it's normally like that ever. I think it was like a kind of a bit of an exception. And again, I kind of was like, if I can do that, I can do anything. I kind of say that to myself a lot at the moment, but I think every job just has something to teach you, whether it's like the people you're with, or like the person you're working for, or the situation, like the creatives and stuff. But so from start to finish, it's kind of, it was like jam-packed, and you do, you know, you learn the choreo, then you'll probably have some sort of tech production rehearsals with the stage, with lighting, and with the artists, you know, whether the artist is involved in like the routines. He might get brought in earlier, they might get brought in later in the process, and then like you'll do loads of like dress runs and make sure that everything works, that your you know, that your outfit changes work, and your transitions into things work. And a lot of the time in productions, you know, in tech, like everything changes, like you can never marry anything. So even for any job, really, I say that's always the way. Like, you learn something, and then you'll get to the place. Oh yeah, you just have to kind of. When I was a swing, I was the same. Like, you kind of just have to chuck things away and just yeah, say if I was on for like a track one day and then a track the next day, I'd be like, I forgot all of that. Like literally put it away somewhere and then I'll find that another time.
Yeah.
You just have to let your brain kind of like dip in and out and like not worry about that as well, because things change so quickly on these jobs. So you've kind of got to just go with it and just breathe and just trust that your body will do it, because it will, as long as you're like learning everything properly and like you're using your muscle memory, like it's in there somewhere.
Yeah. And we were talking about earlier in the studio how nice that team was you were working with there.
Unreal.
Like
yeah.
How important do you think it is to kind of present yourself in a way that makes other people like you?
It's just, I think you do just have to be yourself. I think I think that's when maybe you might come across the wrong way. I think if you're trying to be something that you're not. I've always been, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit quieter, I'm more chill. I feel like a lot of people always say, you're really chill. I'm not out there. I don't always go up to people and run up to people, and I'm not like the one that makes everyone laugh in the room. I'm not really that person, and that's absolutely fine. You don't have to be the person that's like making everyone laugh and like being best friends with like everyone. I think you just have to let things, and I am an advocate for the word organic as a life thing. Yeah, I think with the tour last year with the girls, we were all so different and all different ages, all come from different places, like literally all over the world. And it was just beautiful because, there was no one alike. There was things to learn about everyone, and everyone had done so many different cool things. And I've come away from that with like 7 sisters that are like really lovely, and I know that they've got my back, and I've definitely got theirs because we had such a great time together. But yeah, I'd say that, and I just think like, say if there is someone on a job that you don't have to be best friends with them, but as long as you kind of have that understanding that we're going to be working together.
Yeah, it's work.
It's work. Yeah. It's absolutely work, and that's another thing that, not that I didn't ever struggle with it, but I think you have to remember that as much as you will make best friends in this industry because of how alike you will be because you have the same interests.
Yeah.
You also will do a job with someone, think, oh my God, they're like my best friend, and then as soon as that job's finished, you might not hear from them ever again.
Yeah.
And you just have to learn that to not get too attached.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good lesson to learn when you're going into it, that you're going to meet really, really lovely people, but they have already got friends and circles and whatever. So just let things happen organically. Organically is my favourite word, or organic's my favourite word.
Love that.
But yeah.
So moving on to the third look for today, what was that and what made you bring that?
My third look was a little Palm Angels green sparkly 2-piece. It's a swimsuit.
Yeah.
So I bought it for a portfolio shoot when I was 17, 18, because it was a big a bikini but more covered, so it wasn't all out there.
I was just saying earlier, if you wore that as a bikini, you'd have a very weird tan line.
A very old tan line, yeah. I'd come away from the holiday with just the one little belt. Strip and then arms, and no. Can have it. Oh, I love that. Colour looks great. Oh, I love
that. Oh my God,
I love these so much.
So kind of coming out of college and you obviously worked quite a bit now. What would you say is the biggest thing that you've learnt about yourself maybe whilst doing all these different things that you maybe wouldn't have thought coming straight out of college?
I think I've learnt since coming out of college that, on every job, when you're a working professional, you think, I'm going to be great or I'm going to be perfect. And when I had to swing, for example, that was the first time where I thought, I'd learnt 5 tracks and I'd go on stage and I'd think, I really don't know what I'm doing. I did it. But you just have to, perfectionism can sometimes take control a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first few shows I went on and I hadn't really had enough time to prepare. It was a bit of a crazy environment. You just kind of have to let go, and you have to trust. It's putting trust in yourself. I think that's a big thing. And just especially on live TV, when you do live TV or live shows or anything live, things do go wrong, and it's just about kind of going, it's fine, and literally not thinking about it, because it will happen to everyone. Everyone goes wrong at some point, but it's how you recover, and it's how you mentally just go. In the past, I'd always say the same, but it's got a swear word in it, so I won't say it. But it's about bucket. Chuck it in the bucket. And that helps me. Just let it go over your head. That's a good thing I've learned. And also the other thing I've learned is that it goes like this all the time. All the time. You could be booked and having the time of your life, and then you won't hear from agents for a good 2 months, and that's just sometimes the way it is. And it's how you go about that, and you go and you use that time. Then in between things, you train or you go and get pictures done, and you're proactive. I think that's always the main thing. Like, I think I'm quite good at, I think almost too much. I think I make myself a bit too busy, and it's a good thing to find balance as well, like training, socializing, and finding joy in like seeing your friends and stuff, between work and between jobs.
So in that kind of outside life, how do you balance everything? Because it sounds like you've got a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, I make myself busy, I feel like almost too much, but in between jobs, I think in that kind of like ebb and flow of it all, seeing friends, you have to kind of, especially when you do get busy. And like, I remember when I came back off tour, I was like, I don't know where are all my friends, like, because they're all doing their thing, they're here, exactly, you know, life doesn't stop when you go away. And but you have to be proactive in every sense. Be proactive with making time to see friends, because it is so important. I think it's just it is like, you can get wrapped up in training every day and doing all these classes and doing this and doing that and going to the gym and da-da. But at the end of the day, what makes you happy? It's your friends, it's your downtime, it's your family. So I think there's that. I think when you have got time, you have to invest in the classes that are gonna elevate you.
And how do you know which ones are gonna elevate you?
I think, I mean, London's a great place. You get a lot of people. Like this summer, so many festivals have come over, and then with that, last night I was at 2 pop-up workshops that, you know, Victoria Monet's dancers were holding, and they're more expensive. But I think rather than paying like for the same class every week, maybe hold off a little bit and then wait for those workshops to come around, and then you can invest in those workshops. And I was a bit like that when I went to LA as well. There were classes that, you know, I could take because they come to London or I've taken them before. But there are also other classes that were maybe like a bit more expensive, but they were with someone I'd only get to see probably that one time at that moment in time. So I was like, I'd rather pay more and do a class that I might only get to do this one time and learn from this person and soak as much in as possible this one time, than take a class that I know I can take next week.
And how do you approach it differently? So like, say if there's someone who is just in London for one day, how do you get as much as possible from that class? Just
being a sponge. I love being a sponge. I think it's being present as you can in the room. Like, it's lovely as well when you take all these workshops, you find that like everyone and their mum and their nan are in that room with you, all of your friends that you've worked with or from college or from wherever, and it can get quite overwhelming. But try as much to like be there for you as well. Like, it's nice to see everyone, but I'm always a person in class that I'm like, I'll have a little giggle here and there, but I'm always kind of focused. I'm a student in that moment in time. So, and you've paid your money, so you may as well, right? But yeah, I think be present, not just to their steps, but to what they're saying. Like, I took Lucy's class last night, and she had so much amazing advice and amazing like words to give that weren't about the steps. It was about more how you're feeling and how you approach it all. And
is there anything you remember from that as well that really stuck out to you?
It was just more, she said a lot about being authentic and moving authentically, and things coming from an authentic place, and just listening to the music and how it resonated with you and how you would say something. She kept saying like, I might say something like this, but you don't speak like me. So how would you say it? And dance like that. And I was like, you make so much sense. She just said so much actually that I was like, wow, you're a really cool person. And I remember I had to turn around to my friend. We were both like, she's so cool. She's so cool.
Cool. So moving on to the final look we did today.
Yes.
What was that, and what kind of made you want to do that one?
So my final look today was, I just did a plain black body, which was a swimming costume from Topshop from when I was literally...
So a theme here.
Yeah, swimwear. It was literally like just a simple high cut, nice shape.
Yeah,
so it was like, I know that this V-neck, I love a V-neck on me. I think it really suits my body type and my shape. I like it on me. So I brought it along, and it's got nice backless, high cut legs, so it makes my legs look longer. And then I wanted to make my hair wet and like change it up a little bit from having it big and out.
Yeah.
Then all my gold jewellery pieces, just to jazz it up a little bit. And then, I just think it was a bit more stripped back than the other stuff. I think I've done glitzy. I did a big chunky boot heel with little short and bright orange top, so I thought,
it's the balance across the across the shoot. Yeah, having the kind of
versatility.
Yeah. Because you don't know who's going to be looking at your portfolio next, and what jobs could potentially come from that.
100%. And I think, again, I keep going back to it, but Balvin, I didn't audition. So I think somewhere down the line, someone saw my Instagram, and in that moment it sunk in that was the deal breaker, I think. And since then, I do think more about what goes on my Instagram, and I do think about, I like having that balance of like my fashion-y stuff and a nice photo dump and my personality, and then having a dance video that I like and I think shows me off well, and then it shows that I'm training and I'm going to classes, and then work stuff. I think you have to keep it all mixed in there.
Yeah, because I think like before you came in today, I was going through your Instagram, and that was the first thing that I thought. I was like, this profile is perfect. Like the feed is such that perfect balance of, you can see you're working, you can see you're training, you can see you're a human, you've got a life. And I think the balance of that was really, really nice. And it's interesting because I've been looking at a few different people's portfolios recently, or their Instagram feed, and there's the people who I feel like are doing better have a better feed. People who have like 9 photos of just like, oh, here's some stuff. Yeah. There just doesn't look like there's the consistency there. And I feel like you've done it really, really well, where the balance is that. Again, balance, we're coming back around to that word. Perfect. But it's just so, do you consider that when you put stuff up now? Or do you just, or if that's just the way that you've been posting up until now?
I'm a little bit mindful, like not to do, if I've put like a few like outfit pictures, I won't do like 3 posts of them. I don't really think too much about it, but I like to switch it up every other post. If I've put a lot of dancing stuff up, then I'm like, maybe it's just like strip back, because I love content. I'm not gonna lie, I'm that friend that's taking photos all the time, so I've always got stuff to share. And I enjoy it. I love having stuff on my story. I enjoy it. It doesn't necessarily like stress me out. I don't worry about it, but I think it's important to think about when you're posting, you're like, does this need to be on there? Or sometimes you have to think, what do I need on there? And then you go about that.
Yeah. And I think you've got to remember as well that these days there are so many people casting through Instagram. Yeah. And like, because I know there's a few jobs that I've kind of heard about recently that have all been cast through Instagram. And it's like, knowing that, like, people need to go and have a look to make sure that if someone lands on their page, firstly, do they realise they're a dancer? Because I feel like there's a lot of people who would call themselves a dancer who you look through their feed and there's maybe like 2 class videos. But then that could be the same as someone who just is into fashion but does that as a hobby. So I think you need to be that someone lands on that and they can definitely tell that that's who you are and that's what you do, and you've been doing this for a long time.
Absolutely. And I think Instagram's made it really great. Like on my profile, I think my top 3 posts, I've got 1 portfolio, I've got 1 video of me that I should probably change. I was thinking about that the other day. I might change it soon. But it's 1 video of me that I'm dancing how I dance. It's like a hip hoppy thing, and it shows me off
to who you are.
Me. It's me. It's very me. It's not me doing someone else's choreo. It's my choreo. But yeah, so I've got portfolio shot. I've got a video of me dancing like that, and then I've got a photo of me on a job doing like one of the biggest gigs I got to do, which was Vegas. And I think then that shows me like that's like a little professional strip. If someone's like looking and it's the first thing that they see on my Insta, they've gone, okay, she's working. Oh, this is a nice shot of her. Oh, and she can dance. And
that's all they need to
That's
see.
all they need to see.
Well, thank you so much for coming today. It's been so fun.
Thank you so much, Adam. I've loved it. It's been great.
Right.
Yay!
Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please share it. If you want to see more of these, click subscribe. And if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask, just drop them in the comments below. See you in the next session.